There's certain things from certain eras that come to define that era. And for whatever reason, those things kind of stay in that era and fade out of popularity. But when you grow up in that era, seeing those things revived really brings you back down memory lane. The era I'm talking about is the late 90s, the early to mid 2000s. You have baggy clothing, G-Unit, oversized white tees, NBA players wearing shorts down to their ankles, and of course, AND1. Quick summary of AND1, it was a brand started by 3 University of Pennsylvania students. They started selling basketball t-shirts with like common basketball slang. It eventually became pretty popular, and then a tape was sent to AND1, and that tape featured Rafer Alston, aka Skip to My Lou. It was the first kind of viral streetball mixtape. They began giving a free copy of that tape with every purchase of an AND1 item. That tape became so popular, they started a streetball tour, took it on the road, and it just became gigantic. I still remember players like Hot Sauce, AO, of course the Professor, he's still doing his thing on YouTube. Just a bunch of super fun, exciting players. They were never quite on the level to compete in the NBA. Apart from Rafer Alston, he actually had a pretty decent career in the NBA. He was like the only one to successfully transition into the NBA. However, their impact on culture at the time, it was arguably as big as any NBA superstar at the time. I remember one time when I went back home to Taiwan for a visit, there was like a flagship AND1 store in one of the huge shopping malls over there, and I got an AND1 hoodie from that store. It was like my most treasured and prized possession. I love that hoodie. I probably still have it back home someday. Next time I go back, I'm gonna try and find it. It's just so many good memories from that time. And the shoe I'm reviewing today was actually worn by Chauncey Billups, who was with the Detroit Pistons at the time. They actually won the championship that year with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2004, and he kind of popularized this shoe. AND1 Rise Pearl White. You can actually get this shoe right now for $120 on and1.com or Amazon. For those of you complaining about how hard it is to get shoes nowadays, can't get any easier than going on Amazon.com and buying a pair of shoes, as easy as it gets. Now this shoe originally came out in 2003, so this is the 20th year anniversary of the AND1 Rise and the 30th year anniversary of AND1 overall. At one point, AND1 had a bunch of NBA players signed to them, like Jamal Crawford, Latrell Sprewell, Chauncey Billups, as I mentioned before. And actually at one point, they were the second largest basketball sports brand in the world, right behind Nike. It's kind of crazy to imagine, because their whole thing is they have a bunch of players that went on the streetball tour that couldn't make the NBA. And the upper sole of the shoe, an all white base leather layer, and it is synthetic leather. When you press down, you barely see the creasing of the leather that you might expect from natural leather. Would have preferred if it came with genuine leather, obviously. And the most distinct feature about the upper sole, of course, is this TPU structure that offers more stability and more support. And the TPU is very solid. And the synthetic leather goes all the way up to the tongue, but you'll see the mesh kind of underlayer come through in bits of the tongue, leading all the way up to the AND1 logo. And the midsole of the shoe is actually directly encapsulated in the upper sole. And it is an EVA foam according to and1.com. I think they're calling it DuraSpring. You'll see that printed on the outsole over here. And the shoe does feature a rubber outsole, and you can see that sticker in the center of the outsole. I'm not quite too sure what that's supposed to represent. And you see the traction of the shoe. It seems like it would still hold up today. It's mostly like herringbone pattern, and you see the AND1 cutout, the midfoot, as well as the words AND1 near the side of the shoe. And on the booty of the shoe, you see both these logos debossed into the shoe, imprinted into that TPU chassis. I think that's a really, really, really cool touch. And at the bottom of the eye stays and around the eye stay, you'll see both those logos again. Just in case you forget what shoe you're wearing, there's a lot of logos on this shoe. And my favorite thing about this shoe is actually the insole. Not the material itself, it's a pretty standard insole. However, the artwork, that graffiti, kind of illustrative, kind of comic book style insole, the effort they put into that, poof! As far as ventilation on this shoe goes, there's pretty much none. There's like 5 little tiny ventilation holes on each side of the eye stay. There's barely any, keep that in mind. And I do want to point out another logo on the toe box of the shoe, kind of subtly hidden in there. Now this shoe doesn't come with any extra laces. I think the white default laces look pretty nice. Imagine if they got like chrome looking laces to match the TPU chassis. I don't even know how someone would do that, but they could have figured it out. It would have been pretty cool. However, the white default laces, I'm fine with that. The box of the shoe, they stuck a barcode on the top of the box. It really annoyed me. It's very hard to take off. I know I'm just gonna rip the color off. I'm keeping it on for now. I'm blocking it just in case, someone can do something with the barcode. I have no idea if someone can, but just doing that in case. But the artwork on the box is very, very cool. The N1 logo, obviously on writing, as well as that very famous silhouette of the person dribbling the ball, as well as a reference to the 30-year anniversary. And what's neat is that N1 and the 30 years, it's actually embossed. When you run your hands over it, you can actually feel the texture. Whew, love that little detail. And inside the box, nothing too special, just paper with the logo N1 all over. Now moving on to size and comfort, I'm a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet. I've never owned a pair of N1 Rises before, so I didn't really know what to expect. And I gotta say, I think it fits pretty well. As a wide footer, it actually fits quite snug. It's not too tight in any single area. On my feet specifically, it feels like, might sound kind of crazy to say, but like Jordan 2 and even like a Jordan 3, like a mix of both. The cushioning and the padding inside kind of reminds me of those shoes, but it's not like too foamy and soft. Honestly, it reminds me like a crossover between those two pairs of shoes. Comfort-wise at least. If you're a wide and flat footer, I still recommend going true to size. If you have like normal, not wide or flat feet, I think you'd be fine true to size anyway. Maybe loosen up the laces with thinner socks. Comfort-wise, I was surprised. It's been 20 years since this shoe first came out, and I still think it really holds up. The cushioning around the ankle collar, super soft, and the EVA foam midsole, I think it feels nice too. It's not like top of the line in terms of comfort. I think shoes like the Jordan 13, 14, Jordan 5s, they all fit and feel better than this shoe. However, it's a decently comfortable shoe. Now, I haven't played ball in this shoe yet, but kind of just wearing it around the house, kind of jumping up and down, I think honestly it still holds up. The traction is nice. It's not the lightest shoe. However, the stability from the TPU chassis, as well as the cushioning, it's all pretty decent. I'm definitely pleasantly surprised. Now that brings the total sole score of the N1 Rise Pearl White to 16 out of 25. Right around average, slightly just below average compared to all other general release shoes. If you're interested in the sole score for every other shoe that I've reviewed, just go to soleandklein.com and it's all there. Colorway wise, there's a few different colorways of the N1 Rise that's available. The closest one to this was probably the white and black version. So the TPU chassis, instead of this chrome look, it was just black. This is definitely the colorway that I prefer the most. The ones with the chrome aesthetic, it's like $10 more. I think it's $10 more expensive. But I really like this colorway. I think it's super simple. You can't go wrong with a predominantly black and white shoe. The chrome aesthetic kind of adds a little more dimension to the shoe. But overall, it's a decent, nice colorway. Material wise, synthetic leather. You can't expect too much out of a shoe from 20 years ago, especially at this price range. Very average materials, not great, not bad. Comfort wise, like I said before, I'm pleasantly surprised. The cushioning, the padding inside, and the feel, just the overall fit of the shoe. I think this is a comfortable shoe. There's so much attention obviously paid to Nike and Jordan brand shoes. Comfort wise, there's a lot of people who love the Asics, love the New Balance shoes. However, this is slept on. I really do think that. I genuinely think this N1 Rise, comfort-wise, cushioning-wise, it's a slept-on shoe. More people, especially if you're going for like a lower price shoe, should definitely give this a chance. Versatility-wise, it's a very basketball-looking shoe. It's kind of bulky, kind of chunky. It's a very 90s and early 2000s looking shoe as well. So it's not the most versatile silhouette in a vacuum, even though I do like it. I'm from that generation. I'm from that era. That was like peak of my childhood, so I appreciate the silhouette. Colorway wise, very versatile shoe. Black and white, like I said before. A predominantly white sneaker. Can't really go wrong with that. Now storytelling wise, I think this shoe does a good job. It's the 30th anniversary of N1, so on the box of the shoe, you'll see obviously very cool artwork, as well as a reference to 30 years in business. In the shoe itself, even though there's not a lot of story to tell, however, the insoles, at least, it's pretty unique. And in combination with the box, I think they did a decent job. The return of this shoe probably didn't do much for sneakerheads who didn't grow up in this era, but I just had to review it because it was just an important time in my life. A sneaker can bring you back down memory lane. It can take you back to points in your life where it was just super nostalgic, had so many good memories, and that's one of my favorite things about this hobby. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the N1 Rise Pearl White. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.